Hello, my name is Miranda Backus, and this is my presentation on my worldview of child development. My philosophy on child development is that it is not linear. So, two children's development is not going to be exactly the same. Despite there being milestones of development that children go through, each child's experience and journey is different from one another. Some factors that influence a child's development is their parenting's choice in child rearing, the child's temperament, as well as culture. There are some parents that the way that they child rear is by providing a language-rich environment. So for children that are in an environment that has lots of language and they are exposed to that on a daily basis, they may be children that develop language quicker than another child who is not in a language-rich environment. For temperament, the way that influences a child's development is by, for example, if a child is slow to warm up, they are less likely to explore their environment and learn about their environment than a child that is considered an easy temperament. The way that culture influences a child's development is that amongst different cultures, there are different expectations for the children in the family. So, for example, in some cultures, it is common to hand feed your child, the parent, until the child is about 4, 5, even 6 years old. Whereas in other cultures, some children start as young as, they're eating solid foods. So some experiences that I have that tie to my worldview are mostly from a classroom that is consisting of children that are on the autism spectrum. So some experiences I've had that have to do with parents and their influence on their child's development is I've worked with a child that has been provided a language-rich environment, and I feel like that did help their receptive language skills. They seemed to understand a lot of the instructions that we were providing to them, and when we got to talk to the parent, we learned that they did provide a lot of language in the home and were constantly talking to the child. Some ways that I have experience with children and their temperament is I've worked with children that are slow to warm. And I have made observations about the way that they interact with their environment and sometimes their tendency to remain in a more safe place in terms of at their desk, just because it's taking them a little longer to warm up to the environment. And third, for culture, an experience that I have had is very similar to what I gave earlier. I currently work with a student who it's very common in their culture for them to be hand-fed. And that is a skill, a self-help skill that we are working on with the particular student is for them to grow the independence of feeding themselves. Not saying it is wrong at all in their culture for their parents to be feeding them. Totally appropriate. That is culturally appropriate. And we're just, helping them at school as well so that they have the self-help skills that they need. So from there, I'm going to be talking about some expectations that I'm going to have for my career and how I'm going to be intertwining my child development philosophy. So basically, I want to take all the components that I just talked about that I feel influence a child's development, and I am going to be conscious of those when I am working with adults that have disabilities. My future career is going to be a service provider for adults with learning differences, and I need to have those components in my mind when I'm interacting with them. I need to know ways that their development has been influenced in their life and find different ways to support them in the ways that they need. And some ways that I want to continue to support my philosophy and or just become more knowledgeable about what I believe about child development is I do hope to get my master's degree, and I just want to learn more about influences on a child's development and just how they affect how each child develops. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to get my master's degree in child development or behavioral psychology. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you so much.